Where were you when the Mandela effect rippled into our existence? January 25, 2017. By Archaeia Faith. A few weeks ago we watched a video on the Mandela effect and it stayed with me. It occurred to me that when an archontic timeline split had occurred in 1996, that was an epic year for me, and it was also a year that changed my current timeline life I was living in. Michael and I began to discuss how that timeline shift affected both of our lives and humanity altogether as a collective. As I began to really think about it, more and more theories began to emerge in how that timeline shift made our current world into a parallel inverted world that we have come to know today. How many times have you been in a discussion with someone on how the world has changed and how we simply cannot live the way we used to? Can you remember the simplest freedoms we used to have when we left our homes, playing outside with the neighborhood children until the street lights came on? Riding our bicycles in complete and total freedom, or playing hide and seek, lemonade stands, etc. without having to worry about getting taken by strangers. How many times do you talk about the good old days of just having fun without the fear of being arrested or harassed for just being a carefree young person? Or living without the fear of a woman or children being raped? The days of being kind to someone for the simple fact of caring for one another. Compassion without the fear being instilled beforehand. Where did the simple days of pure innocence around the world disappear to? Oftentimes people will ask me, when did this world get turned into the way it is now? As a child of the 80s, my world was completely different. I grew up in the days of innocence, where it was appalling to see the things that have become the norm now. It was the Back to Future kinda days. It was a time when we loved without fear and without walls. One significant tampering of the timelines, even further back, was when Nikola Tesla's brilliant work was stolen from him and used by the cabal to keep humanity at least 120 years behind in their path of spiritual evolution. It is commonly known that his technology was centuries ahead of his time. All of his work was stolen by the cabal, along with his patents that were used by the cabal for their selfish agendas. All of his technologies are used in everything in the modern world and are also used behind the scenes by the cabal to keep their control over humanity, including at CERN while opening portals to retrieve very unstable antimatter by smashing atoms together at the speed of light. They also used his discovery of how the energy of ley lines could have benefited humanity. Instead, they built their facilities and monuments to harvest that energy for themselves all over the world. These types of buildings include where the royal families of England reside, their churches, all worldly government buildings, the Vatican, Washington, D.C., the Pentagon, all Masonic lodges worldwide, and that is the secret of how the Cabal, aka Illuminati, has been able to control humanity for the last 350,000 years when the original Archon invasion infiltrated the planet. The most current and noticeable time shift that occurred was the Archontic Mandela holographic insert program of 1996 that was imposed into our world. That is when the world began to change in a profound negative way. The crime rate began to increase as well as war conflicts between countries. The first false flag waved in front of humanity was the fear of Y2K at the end of the 90s that was developed to instill fear around the globe as energy food source to steal energy from humanity as a collective. When that was an epic fail, 9/11 was formulated behind the scene. This was the next false flag to create fear with the classic campaign of the War on Terror. Individual freedom became a thing of the past. Incredible fear was created with the loss of innocent lives here in the US and all over the world. Very few beings realize we are shifted into this parallel world we are currently experiencing since we were imposed into it in 1996 during the latest wave of the Archon invasion, or otherwise known as the Mandela effect. Not until you truly step away see things in more of an enlightened way instead of the pre-programmed way of thinking of the Archonic invasion that was imposed on us. Break out of this bind-sided control move and return to the sovereignty that was stolen from you, return you back to you instead of being controlled by the Archon invasion. The goal is to bring yourself back into line with the natural timeline. Your soul knows something isn't right with the Archontic, off-track, bogus timeline, and it also knows how to find and what steps to take to come into line with the reality that resonates naturally and flows with ease. The light of divine knowledge is shining brighter and brighter each day. Stay on this path and you shall see a new heaven and a new earth. Send an email to me personally at faithsophialove@gmail.com, if I may assist in any way. I am here. We love you divinely and we look forward to speaking with you in person. Goddess speed and great love. I am Archaeia Faith. If you have seen the daughter, you have seen the mother.